views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Coming up, do you know what's on your credit report? Is your credit history holding you back? Well, what could your credit score be? Or why is credit so important? If you need answers to any of these questions, guess what? You're in the right place. On this edition of Perspectives, a credit expert joins us in studio, breaking it all down and helping you to understand your credit. That's up next on Perspectives with yours truly, Darren Jaime.
What's on your mind?
Let 'em know.
What's on your mind? What's on your mind?
Let 'em know. Anything relevant to life, you bring it to the table. Whether you make a move solo or a movement with a stable. No fables, you speak on your decisions. Cause in the long run, it's your voice, your views, your vision. Keeping it real with many messages for you to know. This ain't radio, but DJ runs the show. Entertainment, he rocks it. Politics, he locks it. The host with the most would handle any topic. Don't forget to share your perspective which shines a light. Cause it might make a difference in someone else's life.
Make a difference.
What's your perspective?
Express what's in your heart and your mind. Share your perspective.
What's your perspective? Let 'em know.
And hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Perspectives. I am Darren Hyman. Of course, we invite you to stay connected to us as we are in season 15, bringing you news, information, and the things that you need to know to share your perspective. And we invite you, check us out on Facebook at BronxNet Perspectives. You can also hit us up on Twitter. I also have my personal Facebook page, Darren C. Jaime, and we just continue to share news and information, go back and forth, because that's the most important thing, getting a perspective that actually could help you to make a difference or make your life better. Coming up on this edition of Perspectives, many people still don't understand the correlation between their personal financial well-being and their credit. But our guest in studio is a credit expert. He's here to help us understand as well as give us some tips on how to improve our credit. He's the founder and CEO of Y2K Credit Solution and has years of experience advising people on how to correct as well as take control of their credit. We welcome now Andy Suku to Perspectives, and we are good to have you.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you for having me.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
And, you know, we talk about credit, and we understand that credit is really a major part of any person's life. And I think sometimes people underestimate how powerful credit is.
Right.
Tell us how powerful it is.
Oh, man. Credit can make you or break you in this industry. In today's economy, actually, especially if you're trying to buy a home, renting another apartment, even buying a car. Credit is everything. It drives everything these days in your personal lives. So credit's very important. You have to make sure that your credit score is up to par. You have no negatives. But without credit, to be honest with you, what can you do without credit? Put it that way, right? Really nothing.
Not
Right?
much.
You can't get cable. They run your credit. Car insurance, simple things like that.
Cell phones.
Cell phones, renting cars, even electric, Con Ed, they run your credit. If your credit is bad, they want a deposit, whether it be $250 or $500. And so that's just to show you that's the littlest things that credit requires.
And so when you have credit, you have good credit scores, you have bad credit scores. What are the disadvantages of having that poor credit score?
High interest rates, banks like Capital One, subprime banks. They target clients that have bad credit because that's how they make money on high interest. Small credit lines, you apply for a credit card, instead of you getting $10,000, probably give you $500 because your credit score is so low but the interest rate is so high. So the credit scores, rule of thumb is you want to be at a 680 and higher. So once you have that credit score, you're smooth sailing and there's room to bring it up to higher.
Many people don't know what their credit score is. Guilty, people say, I'm guilty, don't know what my credit score is. And I think sometimes it's out of embarrassment or just lack of knowledge. What do you tell people about knowing their credit score and at least making the hard step of trying to find out for some people?
Well, credit score is like your bank account. You always want to know what's in your bank account, right? You want to know your credit score. Because, for example, say you want to get a new car. You're going to go apply for a car. You don't know your credit score. You don't know your credit score. They're going to hit you with a high interest. So you want to pull your credit maybe every 6 months. So the reports you get from the credit bureaus, they don't give you your score, so you may have to pay a company like annual credit for the score, or you want to do LifeLock, and they'll give you the credit score. So those are two ways you can get your credit score and know where you stand with your credit score. But you have to know your score. You cannot not know the score.
There's something called an inquiry.
Right.
And if I check my credit score, I think, correct me with the analogy, if I check my credit score, could it possibly hurt by doing this thing called the inquiry? And so maybe you can explain to us, because we hear a lot of credit terms, hard inquiry,
Right.
soft inquiry.
Correct,
Why don't you differentiate the
So,
two?
perfect. That's a good question, actually, and a lot of consumers don't know the difference. And the difference between that is that if you apply for a mortgage, credit card, those are hard inquiries. They don't want to pull your credit. They're applying you to see if you're credit worthy to approve you for something, right? Soft inquiries are like if you're getting pre-approval for a credit card. Those don't hurt your scores. They're just soft inquiries. Let's say they want to increase your credit limit. That's a soft increase. Apartment rentals, soft inquiries. They just want to see if you're credit worthy to extend credit or even give you this apartment in your name. And that's the difference between a hard inquiry and a soft increase.
So the hard inquiry would consist of, once again,
You lose points for that. It's a hard inquiry is approving you for a mortgage, a car loan, a credit card, any sort of money that they want to give you. Apartments, they're not approving you for credit. They're seeing you're credit worthy to pay the rent. So that's the difference between a soft and a hard increase.
well, how long is the timetable? Once you have an inquiry, maybe my credit score drops because these hard inquiries have actually hit. How hard is it to get my score back up after that?
A hard increase 2 years for it to come off your credit report. Those come off automatically every 2 years. Soft inquiries don't affect your score. They're just a soft increase show that a company pulled your credit.
We hear a word, DTI, and I'm pretty familiar with it. Our viewers may not be familiar with it, but for those people who don't know about DTIs, let somebody know exactly what the DTI is, and then after you let somebody know what the DTI is, please take us the time to let us know about not just how do I know if it's too high.
DTI stands for debt to income, right? So it's calculation of how much debt you have to your income. Of course, the credit bureaus don't know your income, right? But on a credit card, rule of thumb is that you're supposed to have 30% credit used, 70% available. With that ratio, you can actually walk into any dealership or almost any financial institute and apply for something and get approved because you have credit available. It's gauged off of 100%. So the more debt you have, the more high risk you become. It's possible you may not be able to pay the debt back, and you may go default. So banks don't want to take a chance on you. So the rule of thumb is just to keep low balances on your credit card, the more credit available. Also, if your balances are high, your score drops. It affects your score. So that's why consumers will say, oh, I used my card today, my score went down 50 points. We're going to ask you, did you make a big purchase? Yes. Well, that's why. Because now you're high risk. So the bank is hoping that you're going to pay it back.
And once I pay it back, will my score go right back
Your
up?
score goes back up, but you don't get the actual 50 points you lost to begin with. Excuse me. Because now you have other credit cards that you have charges on, so it all calculates behind the scene. You'll get majority of points back, but you won't get the full points back. And that's considering because you have other cards that you're using and you have balances on those.
Well, coming up after the break, we're going to continue our conversation with Andy Suku, who's the CEO and president, founder of Y2K Credit Solutions. Going to talk a little bit more about his business, the work that he's actually doing, and what's the difference between him and even some of these other credit card companies or credit repair companies that you actually see on television or you get the leaflets in the mail about. There's a difference, and you should know about it. So stay with us. We're coming right back. We'll give you all the tips you need to know right after this.
Welcome, good people of the Bronx and beyond.
It's not always easy being a dad.
Do you have panda asthma too? Does that run in the family?
This is the home of the most priceless kung fu artifacts.
But when you make an effort,
Dad, we're not supposed to touch anything. Oh, sorry.
Go along, son!
it's always worth it.
Whoa! Faster!
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
I am gonna get you. I'm gonna get you.
Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov to learn more.
We are neighbors and best friends.
I love my sister.
My heart doesn't see race. Love is love.
Our family is no less than any other family.
Back here on Perspectives, we're trying to help you get your credit straight. We're talking with Andy Suku, who's the CEO and founder of Y2K Credit Solutions, and giving us some much needed tips and much things that we really do need to know in order to help us to be able to improve our credit. And you got to this place really in an amazing fashion, because I understand from the way things happened is you started out in the basement with your mom?
Yeah, it's funny how it started. To be honest with you, this was never my passion, fixing credit. It was just I'm a software engineer by trade, and I was working for TransUnion. So I was working on a collection software for a collection agency. And I don't know what light went on in my head. I was like, let me test this out, because I had my own credit issues. I'm fresh out of college, living in Miami, medical bills, cell phone bills, fresh out of college looking for jobs, and bills are piling up, trying to live the lifestyle at the same time. So I had my own credit issues I had to fix also. And I landed this job at TransUnion in Long Island, and I worked on the software team. And I was writing the software, and I'm testing it, and I'm like, wait, hold on, let me try this on my credit. So I went home, and I'm in my mom's basement, I'm testing it out. At that time, I lived with my parents. I was fresh out of college, lived with my parents, no income, whatever. So I started testing it, and it works. I was like, wait, hold on, this works. I got rid of this debt on my credit. But I did it the right way. I didn't write a letter and comes off my credit, and it comes back on in 3 months.
Because we do hear people say, write a letter.
Right.
And you write a letter, and you'll take care of it.
Yeah, that's exactly not how it works. In the real life, that's not how it works. And I'll explain to you how it works to a nutshell. But so I found this niche, and I'm starting playing around in my mom's basement. 6 months later, I had like 40 of my friends knocking on my door, calling myself, Andy, I got this issue. Can I fix this? Andy, can you do this for me? I'm like, yeah, definitely. Come over. I'll fix it for you. 10 years later, here we are. And I started this company from scratch in my mom's basement. And I can relate to the consumers because we're all on the same page. I'm not no better than anyone else. I've had my own credit issues, my own debt issues, and so forth, and I fixed those. So I tested. I was the first sample of Y2K credit, and it worked. And here comes my friends and everybody else. And then after 6 months, I was like, all right, maybe I can make an industry out of this. Got a virtual office space. Started promoting it slowly. Of course, money was a big thing then because you need a license, you need money for marketing. I had no investors. Couldn't go to my parents. They're like, what the hell are you talking about? You're going to fix credit, So I didn't want to tell them. So I used my own money to start, my own capital to start it up, build it up. And now we have an amazing staff that fix almost anything on your credit report legitimately.
And nationwide.
Nationwide. We're the only company in Canada now. Canada, it took 2 years to get rights over there. Pulled the trigger, and we got accepted, and we're servicing Canada now. So, and we're the only company nationwide, like you said. But back to the question of the letter system, don't get me wrong, that works. But it works for third-party collection agencies.
And so we're talking about the letter system. For people watching, it's talking about you write your creditor or send a letter saying that there's a dispute or something like that.
Right, correct. So, and consumers have the right to challenge anything on their credit report. That's not taken away from them. If you pull your credit report, and if you need your credit report, you can get it from annualcreditreport.com. So you need to know what's on there. You get the credit report, and you see a mistake or it's not yours. You have the right to challenge it on your credit report. You see a collection agency is not yours. You have the right to call that agency and say, hey, send me validation of this debt. What happens after that, it determines on the collection agency and your communication with the collection agency. And don't get me wrong, you could write a letter. Some things you can get dismissed. A lot of these collection agencies don't follow all the laws, all the correct protocols, so that's why certain things will come off your credit. But then you hear a customer say, oh, 3 months later, it came back on. I went to this company, it came back on, and now what do I do? That's because you got to understand the difference between a servicing company and a debt buyer. So when these other companies write a letter, they're sending it to a servicing company that's servicing the debt on behalf. For example, we'll say Chase, right? They don't own the debt. So when you send that letter, rightfully they have to come off your report. They send it back to Chase. Chase has to report it to another agency. It comes back on your credit. But that's not how you fix it. You actually have to fix it from the root, the bottom where it started. You have to resolve the debt. Don't get me wrong, with Y2K Credit Solutions, we're here to help you. We're here to save the consumer money. It doesn't come to our pockets. It stays in your pocket. So when we fix your credit, nothing comes back on. And our process is 3 to 5 months. resolve all your negative debts, and rehabilitate your credit and put you back where you
And
need
when you
to
talk
be.
about resolving debts, I think some people say, I can't pay it. I can't pay the amount, but there are settlement options that are available.
Right, 100%. So when we settle a debt, I'll give you a quick scenario and I'll just use random numbers, right? Come to our office, you have $5,000 worth of debt. We pull our own credit reports. Actually, we're the only company that do that also. We pull a tri-merge report. We're not like other companies that say you pull a credit report from Credit Karma, send it to us, and we're going to review it. We pull your credit report on the spot when you're in our office. You have $5,000 worth of debt. Okay, right off the bat, our specialists will be able to tell you $2,000 of this debt you don't have to pay back. There's no contracts behind it. We know that already. So now the client's responsibility is $3,000. And that's one thing clients need to realize, that you can't hide from every single debt. That's a big misconception in this industry. A letter's not going to make the debt disappear. You know, rightfully you used it. There's a paper trail. So on that $3,000 debt, it's going to go to our settlement department. We settle the debt, and to a very small percentage. But when we put together the plan, we're working with your financials. We know exactly what you can afford, what you can't afford, and we know where you're going to be at. So we put a plan in place for you.
So it's more than just actually helping with the credit. It's really about helping with financial solvency.
Correct, exactly. We basically put you back fix it from soup to nuts, put it that way.
And so nowadays, there are a lot of people who are dealing with financial issues, hardship issues, and money's tight and bills are out there. We're hearing that one word, bankruptcy, all the time, and people sometimes struggle with the fact of saying, listen, I should file for bankruptcy, I shouldn't file for bankruptcy. What advice do you give to people when they're considering bankruptcy?
Bankruptcy it's a very it's a tricky thing, right? Not all clients, every client qualifies for bankruptcy. It's not the best move for all clients though, basically. In our office, our rule of thumb is if you have $40,000 worth of debt, even if we settle $40,000 for you and that comes down to $10,000, it's better off you pay the $10,000 than take a bankruptcy for 10 years, right? But if you're well over 50, 60 grand, and we know that once we finish sitting down planning your financials and it's still the budget doesn't come out to play, then yeah, we recommend you to do bankruptcy. But bankruptcy is not our first option with any of our clients because it's for 10 years, you can't get any credit, right? Mm-hmm. So we try to see if we can resolve it first without putting you in the bankruptcy option. It's the quickest way to get out of debt, but it's the right way for you, not all the time. And every customer and every case is different.
When we talk about credit scores, obviously we know that it's much easier to lose credit and your credit to go down than your credit to actually go back up. I think people may not be so aware as what are the things that actually negatively impact your credit score and or help. So can you take a few seconds just to tell us that?
There's a lot of different things that actually could impact your credit score and help you. One, inquiries. Consumers are only allowed to have 6 inquiries a year. Anything more than that is abuse. And let me drill down on that a little bit. What I mean by that is that, if, for example, we'll use Chase and Discover just for argument's sake, right? Mm-hmm. You have 6 inquiries on your credit. Here I go apply for a Chase credit card. I got denied. You go apply for Discover. They'll see that the last inquiry was Chase, but there's no account open. It means you got denied. Discover's going to deny you also. So a rule of thumb is we tell clients only 6 inquiries a year. Anything more than that is abuse of credit. A lot of consumers pull their credit just to pull it. There's ways of going around getting your scores without pulling a hard inquiry on your credit. So inquiry is one of it that bring your scores down. Debt to income, DTI. The more high balances you have on your credit card, we touched on this earlier, the more higher balance you have on your credit card, the scores goes down. Consumers don't realize that. You know, like we mentioned earlier, clients call us all day. I made a purchase, my score dropped. Or my score dropped, why? This is just a random question they're asking us. We're like, well, what did you do? So we have like a point system. We ask you, did you do this? Did you do that? Did you make a big purchase? Yes. Then that's why. Because you don't have enough credit to begin with, and the little bit credit you have, it calculates in your score. So the more your debt is, the more your score goes down.
Financial literacy is the name of the game. Andy Suku is our guest here talking about credit repair. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about some of his philanthropic work, how he's helping to educate young people in the area of financial literacy. Stay with us. We'll be right back in just a few.
Thanks for coming in for the interview.
Oh, yeah, of course.
All right, we got your personal references, your resume, high school diploma or equivalent.
Skip the drama. Get your diploma.
Yes, it's right there.
Great.
Take that first step towards a better future. Find free adult education classes at finishyourdiploma.org.
Hey, it's Ava, and this is Tess from Do Your Selfie, where we recreate the hottest looks from today's biggest music videos.
After cleaning out our closet, we have a lot of clothes we don't wear anymore.
Like this old pile of t-shirts.
It's not garbage, it's actually a new rug.
And to make it, all you need to do is cut, tie, and glue.
Cut the t-shirt into strips.
Tie the strips into knots.
And glue the knots to the bath mat. I love it. Give your garbage another life.
And recycle.
I'm only 17, but I know about investing. Believe in something, buy shares in it, watch it grow. So, what if you could invest in the future? The future of kids, like a stock. Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change. A whole new kind of investment called Better Futures. When you invest, it helps kids go to college. I could be one of the first college graduates from my family, the first philanthropist from my neighborhood. And if I'm the first, then maybe there's a second and a third. Believe in us, invest in us, watch us grow. My name is Sydney, and I'm your dividend.
Our guest in studio, Andy Suku, financial expert, CEO and founder of Y2K Credit Solutions, a man that literally built this from his mother's basement to a nationwide and now international company. And you got a whole lot of clients, huh?
Oh, man, I service about 300 a month.
Really?
Yeah, just in the U.S. Forget Canada. We're not even talking about the U.S. We're not talking about Canada, just the U.S. alone.
That's got to be a good feeling from your mother's basement to more than 300.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. But yeah, it's a good feeling. Can't complain. The best part about it is that you're helping people.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about the money. It's the fact that you're able to help them get out of the situation and start them over. I think that's more rewarding than the financial aspect of it.
And you have a good relationship with the banks.
Oh, yes, that's another thing. We service a lot of banks. Just to name a few, TD, Capital One, Citibank. Right? We do a lot of mortgage day with those guys. And the thing is, when a client goes to the bank to apply for credit, there's a need and a want in the industry. You go to the bank, it's a need. You're trying to buy a car, a home, whatever it is you're trying to apply. You get denied, the bank forwards you over to us. So if the banks are using us because we deliver the service, why not?
And like you said, you didn't really start this to do this as a business, but this has now turned into your passion. And
it's like I said, it was just a side thing, man, because I'm into motorcycles and racing and so forth. So I'm into savings. I'm always about savings. So I didn't really want to touch my paycheck for my job. So I started as a side hustle to continue my hobbies.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are now. It became my passion, and built a company, and we're soaring all the way up.
And you do some philanthropic work as well.
Yes. I actually just recently I started with Harsher St. Vincent. Harsher is a foster care organization that takes care of kids that don't have a family to live with, shelter and so forth, right? So I was invited to a fashion show, actually, with a good friend of mine that's involved with it also. It's amazing that the kids out there that need your help and my help. Just the guidance, 20 minutes alone. You know, these guys they come up from a really, really rough upbringing, and they don't even have the guidance to like how to get to college. So I started mentoring these kids. I actually have a few of these guys interning in my office also. They're starting college, teaching them how to manage finance, how to apply for financial aid, student loans, and even maintaining their credit so they get low rates on their student loans. Mm-hmm. So that's my first organization I'm actually in doing philanthropist work with, but it's very amazing and rewarding to help these kids and to give back.
Because if you start early,
exactly.
you can really turn a person's life, or at least keep them on the right path. And sometimes we all stray, but
but
having a good foundation.
That's one thing in boys. You know, we all stray. We always want to do our own thing, but if you have a little control of them and you're teaching them the right way, they'll listen. Especially if you're on their same level as some parts, right? Mm-hmm. And they can understand, relate to you. You can relate to them. Yeah, they can definitely. You can definitely turn them back around and show them the right way.
Well, tell me now, how do people get in touch with you? And because somebody's watching the show right now saying, listen, I want to get my credit repaired. I want to, be in this better place of financial literacy. I like what I'm hearing. What do I do? What do they do?
Simple. You can go to our website, www.y2kcreditsolutions.com, Instagram, y2k_creditsolutions.com. You can call us on our local number, 516-568-4541. We have a full staff there. It's consultations only. You set up an appointment. The consultation is free. The reports are free. So we're not charging you right as soon as you walk in the door. We want you to understand what's on your credit. So those are ways you can get a hold of us.
All right. We want to make sure that people take advantage of that and know that there's certain things that you can do to actually improve. You don't have to stay in the same shape that you're in. And I think the main message is give a message before we close out here for somebody who might be just be embarrassed and say, you know, I can't afford this.
Don't be afraid. And listen, don't be afraid. It's nothing to be afraid. It's going to haunt you. So either you face it or it's going to face you, but it's going to face you in a judgment where it's going to be more expensive. Bank levies.
Right. And how expensive is it to really, because people say, I can't afford to do this.
It's all case by case. We're very relative in our rates.
Well, not your case per se. I'm not saying how much you charge, but I'm asking more specifically. People say, I just can't afford to repair my credit. What advice do you give them?
It's simple. You have $5 for McDonald's. I use that concept. You have $5 for McDonald's. You can put aside $5 and fix your credit. It's just that simple. But you have to want to fix it. You have to want to pull the trigger and want to be in the right path and have financial freedom.
Andy Suku is our guest. He's been sharing with us on this half-hour edition of Perspectives, trying to help us to get more credit worthy, or I should say credit knowledgeable. And thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Good. You got to come back and share with us.
Definitely. I have a lot more to talk about, but
we're going to have you come back and talk. So much that you can't do it in one show.
Exactly. Yeah.
We're bringing him back for sure. And he's the CEO and founder of Y2K Credit Solutions. You have the information at the bottom of the screen. I encourage you to tap into him and the resources. A gentleman that actually has done, I mean, that's more of the American dream. You started in your mother's basement, and then here it is. You are a national and now an international company. So just check them out. And if you really want to try to get in touch and find out how to do it the right way, I encourage you to do that. That's about all the time we have for us here on Perspectives. I'm Darren Hyman. For all of us here on the set, thanks for watching. Until the next time we meet, stay safe. Share your perspective with somebody else. It just might make a difference in someone else's life.